This video will provide an overview of the CMS 1500 form fields 1 through 13. Before I discuss fields 1 through 13 of the CMS 1500 form, let's lay a proper foundation first. It's important that someone assign a physician to that invoice if you want area 17 to be filled in automatically. Although it's not required, you want to do it ahead of time so it'll look it up properly when a CMS 1500 form is created. In the same way, it's best to assign a payer before creating an invoice. That way that information is inherited or looked up automatically. Although you can do what's called a re-lookup. We'll discuss that in a moment. So we've assigned a payer and a physician, and we generally want to make sure an office is assigned so that it will pull in information into areas 32, 33, and some other areas, and also that a clinician is assigned so that when we create charges, 24J will pull in the appropriate NPI number. That NPI number should also be set up ahead of time right in this area right there. You also want to, in the office setup area, make sure that the federal tax ID number is set up and perhaps the practice ID, NPI number as well. So let's go ahead and create a brand new invoice, and then I'll show you a couple other things before we get to the actual CMS 1500 form. Someone else may be doing this. If you're a biller, you may be thinking that the front office might actually perform this task, and that's fine, but I just wanted to go over this with you. We'll create a new invoice. We'll enter a template here, and it automatically pulls all this information onto the form itself, which is very helpful. Notice that the assigned office and clinician was pulled in automatically. The front office may want to assign something like, I'll just say insurance for now, but they can be specific if necessary, so that you can find that information later if necessary. Now we can also have someone in the front office or the audiologist, clinician, can click this CMS assign, and we'll see here if they had not already assigned a physician or a payer, they can do that now. But again, it's better to do that ahead of time. They may also mark this invoice for right here. It's the same field, but that marks it so that you can find it later, and I'll show you which button to click so you can find all pending claims essentially that you need to review. Finally, in this area, they can put in a diagnosis code because the biller may not be the appropriate person to make that decision. And if you're going to send a copy of this to the patient for insurance reasons, then you can also put in something down below. But let's go ahead and go with what we have now. So notice that this turns red up here, indicating that it's marked for review by the biller. Finally, the insurance notes area down here may have been filled in with something like that, some note that you want to pay attention to later as a biller, and notice it turns a dark red here. You're going to see that it also colors a button in the CMS 1500 form itself as well. So I may have missed one or two things here, but generally you just want to make sure that the invoice is filled out correctly. I think we've covered that in some of our invoice training videos. So from a CMS 1500 form point of view, let's go back home. And to get to the billing area, you can just come here by clicking the invoicing button and going to any one of these invoices if you want, or you can go directly to the CMS 1500 area. Even if a patient is not a part of the found set of people who need to be reviewed, you can still come to any invoice or any CMS 1500 form, and then what you do is click this button right here called Find Pending Claims. What that does is it finds everyone who was marked back in this area with that X right here, or under the assignment area right there. So that's a real easy way to find all your claims. Just click that button there, Find Pending Claims. Notice this one's marked here as well. That's the same thing, and it colors, changes the color of that there. Now that re-lookup button to the left of the Find Pending Claims button is a way to pull in data if I did not assign a payer ahead of time. Notice this particular patient doesn't have any payer here. So that just means that was not set up properly ahead of time. And I can pull in a physician right from here or a payer right from here. And that will allow me then to re-look up that information. I do want to refresh that and look it up. Now it pulls in all that information for me. But again, it's best to lay a proper foundation by having that information ahead of time on the home screen. So we can now cycle through these different claim forms here, and some of them are set up properly, some are not. This is just sample data. But you understand this last one that we just did for Jennifer, it pulled in the appropriate information. Here is the lookup code, but what's important for electronic billing is this 5-digit ID, and as you know, we don't necessarily need an actual address for a payer if we're going to be doing electronic billing. If you're going to send it through paper, then that's a different story. So we have a preferred method of billing here. It could be paper or e-billing. And let's look at some of these other buttons here. This button here is called the print image format button, and it just kind of pulls up something here, takes a moment to pop up, and then I could kind of look at how that's going to look on for electronic billing, the print image format document. This is just the little help button so you can see some of the videos that you're seeing right now. And then the insurance notes has turned to a darker red, and I can click that and see, oh, this is an important comment that someone wanted me to see. Now again, it's not going to print anywhere, it's just for your benefit. So you want to be aware of that area. So I can again cycle through each of these different claims that I've found that were pending, and I can do that in each section. So as I scroll through, you'll see that it's changing at least a little bit. Again, I have just a lot of sample data here, but we'll go back to this area here. Now most of this information is pulled in automatically. The insured's ID, for example, is pulled in, but you can click this button here or here, and that, notice it changes it from an ID to a social security number. But again, I understand we're using a different Medicare number now, but that will pull in that information based on whatever's on the home screen. So let's take a quick look at that, I suppose. And that is, I thought it used to be here, so forgive me. It's hiding in one of these buttons here, and I just don't remember where it is, but it's one of these numbers here. So I'm sorry that I wasn't prepared for that. So anyway, let's go back to our CMS 1500 area. We'll go to invoicing. If you ever needed to get home like I just did, you can come right back and again click your Find Pending Claims button to isolate those. So as we look down here, again, most of this information is pulled in automatically. In this area, if there's a secondary payer, you can select or choose that. There's only one in this case for this patient, and then insert, and that will pull in if there was information in an insured policy number for that secondary payer, and then pull in that separate name there, or you can do that from a drop-down list of choices. So I think most of this is going to be pretty obvious to you. You can click a button and put in today's date, or just enter any desired date just like that. Some fields allow you to edit them and put in your own choices. Let me pull that down so you can see it a little bit better in that window. So you can edit those choices or automatically enter that information simply by clicking into the box, and that will put that information in there automatically. So again, I think you filled out enough claim forms to understand how this works. We do not fill this part automatically. You can fill that in if desired. But other than that, I think you have a pretty good idea of how this works. The other videos will be a lot shorter because there's not too much to them. But I appreciate you taking time to watch so far.